So as we continue to taper, we gotta make sure we keep everything straight. The spine needs to be continuously kept right. You don't want to get it too far out of hand. You can see a little bit of a warping here. It's kind of like going that way. It's just too much hammer blowing on it. And yeah, I'm gonna use words that you're gonna giggle at, but that's alright. Just my own personal terminology. Just trying to keep everything straight, not letting it bend to one way or the other or get twisted, because that could be a pain to fix. Right now it looks like our back end is a little too high, or the front end is way too high. As you can see, I have a lot of gap. If I'm putting it right on the edge with the blade, you can see the space. Either if I try to make the point sit right, you can see a space in the back. If I put the back down to make it straight, you can see the point in the front is way up. That's something we don't really want. You want to keep it nice and straight for the cutting edge. Now it's too cold. We can't really work on it right here. You can see a little residual heat, but that's not enough to work with steel. It's just going to put too much stress on it if I keep hitting it as is. So putting it in and out is relaxing the steel. And I know there's other smiths who will explain it in better detail than I will. Again, I'm an amateur trying to get better. But as I put it back in there, the steel kind of relaxes from the stress being compressed. And then once I get it back, I can work it, make it flow better until it cools down and starts to get stressed out again before it starts to try to fracture anywhere. If you just keep pounding on it, eventually you can break it and cause fractures. These fractures can be very tiny and be very hard to see. And that will go really poorly if you take something with a lot of microfractures and try to quench it, because that can cause it to completely shatter in your quench tank, which is no fun, because that means you're just wasting a lot of time. And it's kind of like a patience thing. I can see it starting to get orange again. I could pull it out early, but that'd be just irresponsible, because I'd be wasting time trying to hammer it while it's not quite where it needs to be. There's a lot of science that goes to this, specifically in chemistry or metallurgy. There's a lot of excellent smiths who break that down by the science, and you'll understand things about what happens to the steel as it goes through, and all the processes that are happening right now as we heat it up, cool it down, heat it up, cool it down. Keeping a consistency with your steel produce better results than inconsistent heat and inconsistent hammer while on it. So right now, more or less, I'm just kind of nudging it back down, trying to find a way to keep it nice, easy, not too much overhammering, but just enough strength behind it to push it. And we did move it a little bit, but not by much. So we're going to have to figure out something a little bit together here to do that. Since I started the bevels, I know where my lines are, so I'm not exactly too worried about it. We could turn it upside down like this, about where this hump is right here, and kind of just gravity hammer on it. I'm going really light right now because there's no point of hitting it hard. Gravity hammering is just where I take it up high and just let it fall on its own. That should be enough force to start coaxing it back into shape. Now, I absolutely could keep it with a little bit of a belly in the blade. Some people actually like weird shaped blades. I've come to accept that as a thing. I have specific ideas for this, so I'm going to try to stick to that rigid mindset, and hopefully it comes out exactly how I want it. Again, I could take it out in the grind, but I'd rather try to do all my work here right now in the hot, and I'd rather do it while I can still work it from the hot to the anvil than have to go through hours of grinding just to make sure I got it precise. I'd rather get it roughly where I need it now, and then grind out a little bit of extra later, than continuously dig for it through the grinder, go through tedious amounts of grinder movements. So, the more I can do here, the less I have to do over at the grinder. And that's ideally what I'd rather do. Bit out. it's still a little hot. And this will, of course, whiten where I've got the edge set, but it won't be as bad as if I was actively hammering on it. Tongs are getting in the way. That's a lot better. I can still see the hump. I'm going to hit it right here next time. So we're going to go throw it back in. I should probably clean off some of the scaling. Cleaning some of the scale buildup off helps. It's a little bit of a cleanliness thing for scale, as well as you don't want to get hit in the face with a scale as it flies off when you hit it. It's not very pleasant, and I've caught some in the face before, close to the eye. It can be a little startling because it is still pretty hot whenever it hits you. I've had it cut me and I've had it burn me. So it's not a fun thing. So kind of brush off excess scale as you can get it off. And be mindful, wear protection. I don't have any of my iPro with me today. So don't do what I'm doing right now with nothing on your face. Some people do it without any glasses. Some people don't. Some people do. It's just one of those things. Find what you like. Better from the eye, so I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be roughly about where I want it and good to go. I could taper a bit more, and I probably should, judging from what I can see of the spine. I'm probably going to have to take a lot of it out in the grinder to get it to the right shape, but we have a nice rough start with it. And I know this is one I've been working on for a little bit since we've been waiting on materials, but you can see this where it goes from the spine and it kind of wops over. So we're going to try to correct that a little bit here. Right in here it goes from spine and crooks over. From up above, it looks a little off, and we're going to try and make that better. Alright, back in the forge it goes. Forging is one of the best things I love doing. I've got a lot of different things I'm passionate about, but I love this stuff. I've said this time and time again, but I love it. Just a lot of stuff that goes into it. I'm pretty ignorant on the science of it. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff I wish I knew about it, and I still study on it. But the more I do it, the more I learn by hand, the more the science makes sense as I read it. So it's kind of like blundering through it and then learning how it's done right. Sort of. Yeah, this is great stuff, honestly. I recommend anyone who's curious to try it, to try it. It is an exercise. You will get tired after a while. Combination of hammering and heat, it can be a pain. But it's a labor of love. Correct any mistakes. Like so. It's a little better now. It's all it takes. Sometimes it's just like driving, it's just micro corrections. Sometimes it's just a little bit more. I won't ever say I'm making better knives, but I'm making progressively less bad knives. Because I will start noticing problems as they come along. And I can try to fix them as I see them in the best way I know how. But other than that, I believe we're ready to take off some more of this crap off of it and start thinning it out. I kind of like a beefy spine personally, but that's just me. knowledge. But other than that, it's not too bad. I'm going to take you off the borax because I don't need you all over it. We're not trying to bond anything to this. Just going to let it cool off right there with the rest of the forge. It's always important to let everything cool properly, not trying to overstress it or keep it from doing its proper job. So letting everything go as it normally would. As soon as you turn it off, don't try to cool it off faster. Just let it cool down progressively. It'll keep everything kind of on par and fresh. We won't need this behemoth of a hammer today, Andy. On this anvil, it was recommended by no smith to use nothing more than about 2 pounds. It looks like he's added a couple nice little gouges, but that's alright. I'm not blaming him. He's just doing what he thinks he has to do, which is alright. Yeah, we can always clean it up and resurface it later. But we can do some repair and buff it all out. Maybe even if we have to, we can weld a new face on. Oh. I should have bought one. Because now I have the dry thread. Alright. But we're always looking for new people to hopefully inspire someone to pick up the trade or at least find it interesting. If you want a knife made, I'm more than happy to take your order. I don't really charge much. We can talk. My DMs on YouTube or my Twitter are always open. Just shoot me a message saying, hey, I would like to have a knife made. We'll discuss material, be it the steel, the handle material, the spacer, what you want, we can try to do. I am fairly limited in what I have on hand, but I do give discounts if you send me the materials that you want to be incorporated, and I'll find a way to incorporate it. It may not be very big, or it could take up a lot of it. Now, all this stuff in time, it will take time to make. I do have the day job, obviously, so I do this on the weekends as possible. So don't get disheartened, just remind me, and I'll give you an update as I have one. And if you want, I'll even do it for a video and send it with the knife in a file. So that way you can have that and be like, this is how this was made. Other than that, we'll find out soon enough about the new shop. My friend Andy, as I mentioned several times, is getting that new shop. And it's supposed to be pretty big. We're building it from the ground up. Now, that said, I'm going to go ahead and shill his new workshop, which is the Clarks River Artist Workshop, or CRAW. Yes, they know it sounds like crawfish, so don't point that out whenever they start their stuff. With that said, I'll draw this video to a close, and it's been a pleasure doing a little bit of work for you today. We'll do more work and videos in the near future. Check out our streams, and I thank our new cameraman / editor, and we'll see how it goes. Later.